Life and the Museum of Moscow present. Hello everyone! Today we're going for a walk down one of the most prestigious streets in Moscow, Spiridonovka, a street of former merchant estate houses and Communist Party officials' apartments. The street got its name in the 17th century from the church of Saint Spiridon, who was the patron saint of shepherds. And that was no coincidence. The thing is that in the dim and distant past, the area was a shallow swamp that was a popular cattle grazing ground among local shepherds. One of the best examples of Moscow modern architecture is the Ryabushinsky house at the intersection of Spiridonovka and Malaya Nikitskaya. This gem of Moscow modern architecture was commissioned in 1900 by banker and philanthropist Ryabushinsky and designed by famous Moscow architect Fyodor Shechtel. Fyodor Shechtel's modernism style is very rational, simple ceramic facades, minimalist decor, which at the same time is fine and elegant. Perhaps the most recognizable and prominent feature in Shechtel's designs is these metal laces that can be seen in a lot of his buildings. You can find them in his other designs, such as the building of the Moscow Art Theatre and the Derozhinskaya Estate House. Maxim Gorky moved in here in the 1930s, and today this estate house has a museum that you can go to after the lockdown is lifted. In the late 1940s, Spiridonovka was renamed Alexey Tolstoi Street, and there was a reason for that. Alexey Tolstoi's house museum is in this street. The 1900s saw the construction of this set of structures next to the Ryabushinsky house. These housed a stable and a garage. Later, after the revolution, the outbuilding was given to the writer Alexey Tolstoi. On Spiridonovka Street, you can also see this white structure. That's the Granatny Dvor, grenade depot, one of the oldest 17th century structures in Moscow. In the 16th through the 17th centuries, it was used as a munitions depot, but later a fire destroyed that building. After the fire, the complex was rebuilt as a residential building in the 17th century, and in the 1970s a decision was made to tear down the whole block. So when the tearing down of the buildings began, the 17th century structures were found inside the newer ones. These older buildings were restored and are now used as the headquarters of the Union of Designers of Russia. The late 1960s saw the construction on this street of this kind of elite apartment blocks for Communist Party officials. They're easy to recognize from the yellow bricks and large amounts of glazing. Viktor Grishin, the first chair of the Moscow Municipal Communist Party Committee, lived in an apartment block like that. These buildings stand tall among the low-rise structures on Spiridonovka Street. And this Gothic castle, the Morozov's estate house, is a true gem of the street. We're not going to see it today though, it's currently being renovated and will soon reopen in all its beauty. When such an unusual structure appeared on Spiridonovka Street, it didn't go unnoticed. The new building was nicknamed Palazzo, and Moscow's Miracle and actor Mikhail Sadovsky even wrote a caustic epigram. This castle gets one thinking hard. I can't help feeling pity for the past, where once the Russian spirit reigned supreme, today it's business pragmatism all the way. And some fans of Mikhail Bulgakov believe that the female protagonist of the novel The Master and Margarita lived in the Morozov castle. Few literature researchers share this view, though. The State House was built in the 19th century and was commissioned by famous Moscow industrialist and philanthropist Sava Morozov for his wife Zinaida Morozova. After the revolution, the house was used for receptions by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Another unique building you can find on Spiridonovka Street is the estate house of industrialist Gavril Tarasov, a real Italian-style palace built in the early 20th century. Today, the building houses the Institute of African Countries. The architect Alexey Tolstoi, who designed this estate house, drew inspiration from the Italian structures designed by his colleague Andrea Palladio, who had designed palaces in the 16th century. And if we look at the facades of this estate house, we will see some rather thick layers of plaster that are supposed to look like natural stone, as well as narrow windows typical of real Italian palaces. That's it. Stay tuned. We're going to tell you about many more interesting Moscow streets. Take care of yourself and your loved ones.